All right, time to get started. I'm back from Aquashella and I'm alive. Although I tried to die yesterday because I get jet lag 50% of the time that just knocks me out for like 8 hours the day I return. But we're good now. I've got a laundry list of things to like announcements and other kind of stuff like that I'll get through throughout the show here. Uh, when you skip a week, a lot of stuff piles up apparently. So bear with me. Always going to answer questions. I got 400 tabs open on my computer, so that's making things harder. Yeah, so Aquashella was a blast. Way better than any other Aquashella I'd been to before. The party scene, no longer there. Awesome. Still great vibes. Hung out with a ton of members. Hung out with fans. Well, I didn't get to hang out with fans. Met a bunch of fans. And yeah, my wife is concerned about that box. I don't believe anyone can see that box, but I will move it very quickly so it doesn't show our address. Even though I'm pretty sure you can't see it. I'll be right back. All right, I'm back. So, that box right there actually contains my Pipa parva toads, which are, if you've ever seen the Suriname toads that hatch eggs out of their back, these are miniature versions of those. So they should be quite disgusting and interesting. We'll see. Just got them today, obviously just went into a tank. Miles from doing anything with them. All right, now that my mojo is all thrown off, so I was talking about Aquashella, and yes, so we're going to Aquashella Dallas. That's not the next event, but that's the next Aquashella. We'll be going there. We'll be giving shirts away, probably other stuff as well. Yeah, that's all we've got planned so far. I'm sure there's, other stuff to plan out and all that, but you heard it here first. We're going to Aquashella Dallas, so you can kind of, make time for it if you want to go. All right. Let me get, where did my list go? Nope, that's not it. That's just an old live stream screen. Okay. I'm so old school. I just have everything on Notepad. Oh, it's right here. I still have that up. Where is this coming from? All right. Phew, you leave for a week and you get behind. Oh yes, so we did the game show at the event as well. And I gave away some super crazy limited edition clocks that also read temperature and charge your phone by setting it on top of it. So we gave out like 16 of those things, I think. And so we only ever made 40 of them. So some people got some kind of cool, weird gifts. By the way, I'm watching for fish questions. I haven't seen any yet. Will Aquashella ever come to Nevada or California? I have specifically had meetings about both. Yes, so I don't want to spoil plans. I can't speak for Aquashella because I'm not part of that company, but definitely we discussed like a Las Vegas show, we discussed a California show, we discussed all the other shows, and I'm trying to get them to do a West Coast type of show because it makes some sense. Las Vegas is cheap to fly in. California, huge population, lots of good convention centers, all of that kind of stuff. So we'll see. But anything that gets talked about, like right now, they're basically planning 2023 and 2024. And so even if they're like, yes, let's do that show, we're still probably 2 years out. So just know that it's in the being talked about sphere. What's the fish I want the most but can never find? What am I actually looking for? There's not much these days. I don't know if there's any fish that I can't get. Right now it's mostly, I just want to put them into tanks instead of ponds. But yeah, I can't think of a fish that I can't get. I mean, there's like old school stuff that I haven't been able to find, but nothing like attainable right now. How can you maximize the efficiency of your heater? By the way, braces just got adjusted today, and I can already feel myself stumbling over it. So if I sound off, that's why. And my teeth are killing me. So to maximize efficiency, I like to go with a smaller size heater and less on and off cycles. So the only really efficient thing I think you can do is get longevity out of it, because whether you have 200 watts or 50 watts in the same tank, it's kind of going to be the same efficiency. So less on and off cycles, more even keel temperature, I feel like, and more longevity out of it. So I tend to go down in size when I can. Am I tired of my ponds? Not entirely, no. I still love a bunch of them. There's a bunch of fish that I don't want to own because I never signed up to like buy them. Like, I kind of became a dumping ground for everybody. People are moving and people want to get rid of stuff and all that. So I need to clear out a bunch of fish. And mostly it's not that I don't like the ponds, it's that I don't have room for some of the tanks I want to set up. So if you guys watched the video, you saw me talking about Tenopoma and Congo tetras. Both those fish I want in the fish room. And I also want to do something better with my Variatus platies. Variatus platies are in a pond right now. I love looking down on them, but I know they were, I like them more in an aquarium. So yeah, I'm going to get rid of, maybe it's just like one row. So it'd be like 7, the shortest row. And that might give me, 3 more tanks. And that might be enough. Like, all right, I've hit balance, but I've kind of gone too far down the pond rabbit hole and didn't leave myself enough tanks. So, which I realize is kind of crazy because I already have a ton of tanks. I mean, not a ton, but like, I probably have 10 or 12 aquariums. And so I just need a few more. Don't we all though, right? Any dumping ground of rainbows? I don't think I have any rainbows. I have 2 different colonies of Barbados catfish. I have like 5 different types of Corridoras, some that are wild caught from Peru even. I've got discus, I've got super red bristlenose, longfin super red bristlenose, green dragons, albinos. All of those were donated. A pea puffer, those tuxedo guppies that we specifically tested Expel P on, which all of the ones that got cured went to the store, and there's a few babies left, and now they've become another colony. What else is over there that needs to find its forever home? That might be it. No, there's like 2 different types of endlers. Right now I have kind of panda guppies, which I consider endler size. So I have those, normal endlers, El Tigre endlers, Blue Silverado endlers. I think I have one more too. So there's at least like 4 to 5 different of those. And so there's a lot of, oh, and like I went crazy on platies as well. And so I have like copper nose platies, like an orangish bronze platy, a copper green platy, and my Variatus platy. So there's like 4 of those. And so a lot of it is no one needs to own 4 very similar strains of platy. And I think I can get down to about 2 of them. So have I ever thought about visiting Boss Aquatics? I've never even heard of it, so I have not yet. New members, I like to see that. Welcome, Rachel and Old Beardy 95. I like that. Let's see here. You've been putting flooring down, you're late to the party. That's a sore back right there. I have no experience breeding Otocinclus. I've never successfully done it. And so I've watched other people do it. They usually do it in well-planted tanks with no other fish or snails and feed them well, and they do well. But I myself haven't done it. All right, I'm going to start going through more like announcements because it's kind of continually in the back of my mind while you guys keep coming up with great questions. So one milestone that we passed while I was in Aquashella is we sent our 500,000th order, which is kind of crazy. We're getting, we send a lot of orders nowadays, and yeah, we've now shipped over 500,000 orders, and so I believe Candy found out who that one was, and we're gonna send them some extra like swag and that kind of stuff just because it was kind of cool. Like, why not? So yeah, kind of a pat on the shoulders to all the employees and myself, I guess. And I'm just looking for that McDonald's logo. I don't know if all McDonald's had it or just like the one near me, but it was like over 1.1 billion served or whatever. We need that on the website. So yeah, milestone achieved. We talked about Aquashella Dallas will be going. I'll also be going to Inner Zoo. So that's in May. It's mostly a vendor type show. That being said, I will be in Germany and Europe basically for 2 weeks. So I know some of it I have to dip over to France to film a high-end shrimp breeder. I know that I'm going to visit the biggest pet store in the world. We've got feelers out right now with different pet stores, like in Germany at least, to see if some get-togethers and some meetups make sense. What I mean by that is we do so much in the United States, and we have never done an event in like Germany or any of those types of events that we've been invited to. We've done one event in Israel, but my goal is to get one event, even though I'm supposed to be on like a working vacation, if you will. It's going to be a lot of work, but I'm taking my wife, so I'm supposed to not work the whole time. But hopefully one of those days we'll earmark and someone will want to host us and we can invite you guys, and maybe 23 crazy non-Americans will show up and hang out with me. I have no idea. Could be a ton, could be none. I have no idea. So, what else do I got? That's got to be on the website. That's got to be on the website. Oh, I can announce that. So, we will be going to Twin City Guppies at the end of the month, roughly. And the part I want to announce about that is we've worked it out with King Lee, the owner, that anyone who's a member on the channel here, if you show your membership at checkout, and that could be tomorrow, it doesn't have to be like just during this event, but you're going to save 5%. Just like you save 5% shopping from us, you'll save 5% in the store, and not just on our products, but on fish and other stuff. And so hopefully you will support them. That's the goal. So the goal is we advertise, and there'll be a video coming out about Twin City Guppies here in the next couple of weeks. And hopefully you guys will support them. They'll support us by buying stuff, and we'll have a good event there too. So hopefully it's a win-win-win all around. Lots of messages coming in. Thank you to all the people who have been around. 30 months, 21 months, 17 months. Jose Hernandez joining up right now. Thank you. What else? We got a couple more announcements. Oh yeah, the retail store is getting bigger. I don't know if I announced that officially yet. So you all knew that we had gotten the space next to it. We have also now, as of today, can actually enter the next space next to it. So we actually are getting 3 times as big now, which means we're knocking down a wall, and it's going to be, we're going basically from 1,000 square feet to 3,000 square feet. So it was going from 1,000 to 2,000. Now we're going to 3,000, which means we can do even more than we were planning. Unfortunately, though, it will take longer to build it out, but hopefully it'll be 2.5 times as cool. I'd say 3 times as cool, but it's really hard to be 3x as good as we are now. Like, you always start losing efficiency as it gets bigger and bigger and bigger. So hopefully 2.5 times as cool as we are right now. Twin City Guppies asking, or people are asking about the discount. Yes, it is for the retail store only. Go and support the retail store. And part of the reason why it doesn't work online is because we had to do a whole bunch of coding so that you guys could get 5% off of our website. And other people aren't going to be able to do that special coding. And so it would have to go by a code. That code gets shared. All of a sudden, the system's not working. And so but you can take your phone and go, hey, I'd like to get this right here, 5% off. Great. All right. Twin City Guppies last week, 90% of his website showed sold out. What's the deal? The deal is Twin City Guppies has great guppies and they sell really quick. I've bought from them before, and you know, most online specialty vendors like that are going to run into that problem. You bring in a big shipment, you send out a newsletter blast, and then people buy it all. And then you kind of rinse and repeat that. So it's, you know, with Aquarium Co-op is kind of not like that, in that we try to get enough so that we don't hit that, like, you sell out really quick, right? But most stores, that's their goal. Their goal is to build up hype, sell a bunch, and then limit stock so that you go, oh man, I missed out. So the next time when you announce it, the hype goes even harder, right? Really known in a lot of fashion brands and that kind of stuff. And it's a very good selling strategy. Where our strategy is mostly trying to keep everything in stock all the time, which is very difficult on plants and a couple other things. But on the stuff that we do, yes, we try to do that. Aquashella Chicago, we haven't officially committed to it yet. We're still talking with our team and seeing, like, does this event make sense when it lands? I would say the answer is probably one of those, like, yeah, seems likely. But until we start buying plane tickets and, you know, officially starting to print and make flyers and do all the stuff we do, I don't tell people don't start booking time off unless you're going without me, which by all means, go to that show even if we're not there. But I suspect we'll probably be there, but I can't guarantee that yet. Can there be a net that fits inside the specimen container the short way, or make the nano slightly smaller to fit? I feel like, could that be done? Yes. Is that a very niche use case? That might be the case also. Because I feel like you can just do it the long way, and because I'm usually looking at it like this, picking out the fish, instead of going this way on the short way. I don't have any of those laying around, so I can't show it. All right. Yeah, so I announced the store's getting better or bigger, and then let me share some more member perks that we have. So what we're finding is, if we just announce things like on the community page, a lot of you guys are missing it, as evidenced by people trying going, how do I sync my account, right? So I'm going to go through this real quick here. Not syncing of the account, but make sure I get the right page. I got to make sure I'm logged in so I don't mess this up. Okay, good. All right. So a couple new things on the website that I'll show everybody. It's not only just members, by the way. So let me switch screens. All right. So here we are on the website. And up at the top, you can see we have the club. So if you've joined and become a member, you're a club member, and you can see upcoming events. Well, anyone can see the upcoming events. You don't have to be a member only. But like, we have the next member-only YouTube membership talk coming up on the 19th. And then you see here we're going to Twin City Guppies on March 26th, right? So you also see Aquashella Dallas right here, right? And we've got, you know, Tanner speaking on paludariums on November 19th. I didn't even know we secured him. Awesome. But, you know, so talks that are coming up. We have Gary Lang collecting wild rainbow fish, Charles Clapsaddle. I don't know if you've seen his farm. Carl Trochu, which makes some of the coolest live bearers, in my opinion. So yeah, that's, regardless, you can use that, but the talks online are only for members. Anyway, we go to the members only products. This is the new thing. So we click here, and there's a couple of products that we're only selling to members because we don't make any money. And because the members kick in that $5, even if we break even on selling it, like, okay, you guys are kicking in that $5, so let's give you access to something. And that would be this 1 pound bag of bioactive betta gravel, essentially. And then also the Easy Brine Shrimp Salt, which this was a product that we developed and we were fully anticipating on releasing to everyone. And then the minute it basically landed, the problem was cargo containers shot through the roof in pricing, and it is no longer viable for us to sell. So at $29.99 for the 14.5 pounds of this awesome brine shrimp salt that is amazing, we don't make any money anymore. So it doesn't make sense to fill cargo containers and do that. And then if a bag rips open, like, oh, we just lost $30. So, but for the members, and I think we've got like 700 bags to sell total or something like that left, because we've been selling it in the retail store. So you can get this in the retail store. If you walk in, you can buy it. You don't have to be a member, blah, blah, blah. It's also cheaper in the retail store because the shipping on 14.5 pounds is expensive. The other thing that we've got going on with the membership, right? So you have to sync your account. So you have to be a YouTube member, you sync your account, then you'll get access to this. And it's the Scratch and Dent. And here I was going to use this one as an example, but someone just bought it. So these is a new thing we're doing. And like this one that are up here right now, these are the actual products they'll ship. So like this light hasn't sold yet. This light, you can see the package caught a corner, basically. You can see here like, oh, something caught a corner and ripped this package. The light inside is perfect, and we still honor the exact same warranty as if you bought a brand new one. The only difference is this Scratch and Dent that normally we would sell at like the retail store and we would, give a discount, which we are here. We're giving 15% off, and then you'll get another 5% off for being a member as well. So as we get products that get damaged, things like this sponge filter, we're all sold out. I think, wait, do we have this one? We might actually, no, we're sold out, yeah. But as we find more stuff like this, we'll put them back in inventory. There's no select day. There's not like, well, how many, Corey? Like, you're wasting your time if you email us and ask, because it's like, I don't know, we've got 50,000 of them. We could have 17 or 192. When will you find them? Tomorrow or in 4 months when we get to those boxes? We have no idea, right? And also know that we pull the boxes that don't look good. So if you ever get a box that was to look like this, chances are something shifted in shipping and did it to that box. We won't ship you a beat up box to begin with. So yeah. Let's see what else. Yeah, things like return lights too. So this is a good example here. Someone bought a light, they go, hey, I don't like the light. Or the most common scenario is I bought the wrong sized light. That happens a lot. And so they ship it back. It's going to have some extra stickers on it because we've already shipped it once, and we'll ship it back to you. Still gets the same 3-year warranty, all of that, except you're going to save 15% plus your normal 5%. So basically like 20%. The other thing you get, which nice enough from Chris Lukup, the last speaker that we had, is we have this digital downloads for posters. So we're going to click on that. And here we have all of these posters that Chris is nice enough to let any member download. So you can click here and we'll load this, and you see, oh, load, there we go. So you get this poster that you could download and have printed anywhere you want. Very high quality. It's the original resolution, all that. My personal favorite one, by the way, that I had never even seen before was this platy poster, because I like platies. And so I might actually get this one done up and printed and kept here in the studio. So all those posters are free to anyone, even international members. As long as you're a member, you just have to click the download button. And we're building more things to give to international people because we realize that not everyone can partake. And obviously, like a discount at Twin City Guppies doesn't help an international member, right? Scratch and Dent right now doesn't help international, but when we can ship international, it'll help you as well. We just keep developing things as we can and make sure we don't forget about international. And I would say also, we're not forgetting about just normal subscribers and customers and all of that as well. There's lots of things going on in lots of facets. I could show another one actually. So it's not all just about members. We also have on plants. This is a new thing we've got going here. The mix and match. So mix and match plants, whenever you buy 3 or more plants on the website, you'll save 5% on all of the plants. So you could buy 3 of these, or you could buy 1 of these and 2 of something else, or 3 different plants, or 10 of these, 2 of those, and 1 of that, and get 5% off all of them. That's for anyone that shops with our store, not just members or anything like that, for everybody. So there's new stuff we're working on all the time. It's not just about members. It just so happens that we had a few updates right in a row that made sense. I will say it is a little bit easier to add extra benefits to members because they're paying in to make it happen. So yeah, I think that covers all of the little updates I wanted to do. Let me make sure. Scratch and dent, yes. Posters, yes. Discount, yes. All right, we can go back to answering questions. All right, looks like we have Geek Boy and Michael Horton becoming new members. Well, thank you very much. Yeah, I mean, my goal is just to keep adding more and more value to everybody. You know, whether it's, you know, and a good example of that would be at Aquashella. We gave away 1,800 shirts, right? That the cost of that is like $12,000. It's a lot. And then we also gave away 100 pairs of sweatpants. Turns out we needed to bring like 150 pairs of sweatpants. So we'll be taking that back and going, okay, we need to up the amount of sweatpants. So the sweatpants were for members. So there were people that would get sweatpants and a shirt, and then everybody else has got shirts, right? So we always start with, let's try and do something for everybody. And then we go, hey, can we do something extra for members as well? Can I suggest a type of Pleco or Corridor that can live with a humpback dragon puffer and ABI puffers? Oof. I don't know if any of them are going to survive if they go after it. Yeah. I don't think I have a good recommendation. I got to eat a steak with Tanner Saturday night. I didn't get to do any of that. So I skipped the vendor and influencer and all that kind of dinner so that I could do the members only get together thing. Yeah, I'm going to try to plan to have like another day so I can actually hang out with other influencers and friends and business colleagues and stuff, because this weekend was all about the fans. I don't think, yeah, he hasn't done a Pleco's poster yet, so. Have you convinced Corey to do a dedicated part of the expansion to houseplants? No, I should talk about this on the business channel, but I give 2 years before the plant thing is dead. Like, and what I mean by that is, there's been like, on a graph, right? Per capita, maybe you've got like 2 out of 10 households doing a couple of houseplants for like a very long time continuum. And then you have COVID where people are like, I'm bored, I should buy all the plants. And now it's like, I swear, it's like 6 or 7 out of 10 households are doing houseplants right now. But I can already see it starting to dwindle as people's lives open back up. So, plus, I myself am not crazy passionate about it. Now, I love nature, and I have some houseplants, and my wife does too, but I'm not crazy passionate about it. And I don't want to get into something that I'm not going to fully use and test and do all that. Now, that being said, we were talking about launching like a dog collar. And the reason being, I've tried so many dog collars for my little dogs, and they're all kind of too cumbersome or too stiff or not right. And I was like, man, I should just make my own dog collars. And once I perfect it for my dogs, people with small dogs would probably love them also. And so there might come a day where I'm in China and I'm looking at fish stuff, and maybe I finish a day early and I'm like, all right, let's do a dog collar. So don't be shocked if in a few years, like, oh my gosh, he launched you know, Murphy is a catnip toy for cats or something. How often do Milestone chats for members renew? You get them once a month, so long as you've already been a member for at least a month. So you don't get one for the first month, but you get one every month after, I think. New product updates. I don't, well, yeah, we've got samples coming for USB cables. We're going to start working on some of that because it's an extension of, now we're getting to a few different products that use USB cables. And so now I'm finding myself going, well, really, we should provide the thing to recharge these things in a, like, what are the qualities I like, right? So kind of going down that rabbit hole. But no, everything's kind of pushing forward, and yeah, no big updates though. I mean, a bunch of stuff should be here late May, like the insulated totes and the CO2 regulators and the heaters, I think. So that'll be 3 product launches. There might be others too. Like, part of the problem is, like, we have a product thing like that Randy and I work on. There might be 30 products big, but some of them, like lights, we're already like, and heaters, like, we've already been working on for like 2+ years, right? We were looking at it on Monday, actually. We were having a meeting, and not specifically a product, but there was another thing we've been trying to work on for the website that was dated back in 2017? It might be 2017. It was a long time ago that still has not been fixed to this day. Snoochie says, I've been a member for 9 months and I'm missing Milestone chat. You're probably, my guess is you're just expecting it to be a different button. It is the same button that would look like a normal super chat. So I think it looks like I don't have it on this screen I'm looking at right now, but I think it looks like a little money sign or something like that. I disable super chats, so but you should have a little thing that you can click on there. It would pop up and it would look like you're doing a super chat if you've ever done one of those for someone else before. What's the most in-demand fish at the store these days? I think it's still like an Otocinclus and a mono shrimp. What's a large Anubias species suitable to use as a background in a medium-sized 40 breeder? I would say Anubias barderi, Anubias hastifolia, Anubias alphonsi, which sounds kind of hard to get. I like Anubias congensis as well. Any of those ones, just don't get like Anubias nana, even though it's a type of barderi. It's not going to get like tall enough to give you that look you're thinking about. How would AR Scarlet Temple fare with no CO2 but good lighting? I find that it's doable. You might get it not quite as dark red, but a lot of light and good fertilizers, usually I find it can do okay-ish. And that sounds like it's not going to work. What I'm trying to do is, I don't want to be like, Corey said it's going to work, and then you fail at it and you're like, Corey's dumb. It can definitely be done, and it can look really good, but just know that you need to be a little more dialed in than if you were like, hey, I'm giving it CO2 and you know, hugging it every night. Like, that is going to baby it, and the other setup, like, well, it's not babying it, but it's going to take a little bit of work. What does my wife harass me with? Oh, she's trying to show me how to do the member chat. Yeah, so it's also the same button as a super sticker. So there you are. Let's see here. Can I tell you if you can boost the Java moss growth? Lights, fertilizer, CO2, or is it slow going no matter what? You can boost it, but it's really difficult. So good fertilizer and CO2 definitely speed up its growth, but not like, wow, it's growing so fast now. And most people, what happens is they load up on that stuff and then they get algae. So the way we used to actually like propagate it at a store I worked at before I opened my own was in a giant sump connected to 30 plus other African cichlid tanks. So lots of fish poop going in. And then we kept like 100 Amano shrimp in this sump, and they would eat algae, right? And it would grow, and that's how we would harvest it. Because it would, you know, we had to put light on it too, obviously. Anyone know if there's a blog article for buying fish overseas? Not yet, but if you were a member, which you posted that, Chris talked about the company he worked for, which I think is Garnelio in Germany. I'm hoping to go see their facility and film it, part of this InterZoo trip, and then give, like, maybe you guys would like to buy from them. Because if I remember right, Chris was telling me something crazy like it's 1,200 aquariums or something. And that's just the African cichlid section. It was something insane. And so I figure if I can go meet the people and I can film it and all that, I can't vouch for it because I can't order from them, but I could at least go, maybe this makes sense for you. I have no idea. Currently, I have no idea. Can you have too much algae in a tank? And are any types dangerous to fish? I don't think any are inherently dangerous. You can get so much algae though. I've had string hair algae type stuff get so bad that you can almost watch fish have a hard time getting through it, just like way too many plants. But it's really easy to kind of like just take a toothbrush or just your hand and like, all right, get out of here. And it's good for another month or two. So. The shirts that we gave away, so shirts that we give away at events, we never sell. That kind of makes them cool because money can't buy those. Now, I did have a meeting on Friday night with the member, Jared, who printed all of those, and we met with lots of different types of ideas, and we're looking to take some of those ideas going forward. And I think someone said it best, that a fan I met, they were like, it's great, I own both of these, but they're kind of like old band t-shirts, like everyone's got them, and they've been the same ones for 5, 6, 7 years, whatever it's been now. And I go, I totally get that. I've been ultra lazy. In my mind, personally, I'm like, do I launch a new product or do I launch a new shirt? And my mind's always going to go, let's do a product. When I do need to put a little more attention towards, like, yeah, let's do some more swag. Do Hillstream loaches clean algae off plants? No, they eat flat algae, diatoms, anything on glass and flat surfaces, but they don't have the structure to like rip the hair algae off of things. Do they need dedicated feeding? Yes, every animal in an aquarium needs to be dedicatedly feed. How do I say this correctly? You need to dedicate to feeding all inhabitants in an aquarium. Now, you might go, hey, I've got insane amounts of algae and I added a snail. You might not need to feed it, the first week, but after that, like, yeah, it's gonna need food for sure. And so you bring up another good point. Yours are with goldfish, and that might be a challenge. Yes, 100% adding stuff to goldfish. This is why all fish aren't just inherently compatible, even if they're like, well, they won't kill each other. Sure. But you can run into problems like different diets, or even these guys are hogging the food and these aren't getting very many, right? And you could do some things to combat that. Like, let's say you had a piece of PVC that was much more narrow than the goldfish's diameter, so they can't get in. And you were to like pour Repashy while it's still liquid down the pipe, so the inside of the pipe is coated with Repashy, and then you could let that chill basically so it hardens, drop that in, goldfish can't get to it, and then the Hillstream loach can go inside and eat. So sometimes it's a lot of work, so it might not always be like, oh, that's more work than I want to do, and then you got to figure out, maybe you move those to a different tank. All right, I bought a Zis egg tumbler. Any tips or advice? Can I open it daily to add more eggs? Can I put different species of eggs like clown killies and Corridoras at the same time? I've never put a bunch of different types in there. My fear would be like Corridor eggs are going to be way bigger than Clown Killie eggs. And like you wouldn't want them to crush them. Also, as you keep adding eggs every day, they're going to hatch out at different rates. That wouldn't necessarily be good. And then each time you're adding something in, you're basically the potential of adding more fungus, right? So in general, I think people don't put too many different batches of eggs in there out of fear of each time you do, you're upping the odds that you could ruin them all. So most people go 1 tumbler per 1 species, maybe 2 if they were like, oh, it's 2 African cichlids, egg size the same, they're a day apart, they're probably roughly going to, you know, hatch out around the same time. How long does Repashy last once you mix it up in the fridge? I think it's a week to 10 days, but I like to feed it within a week. I don't like to push the bounds of. It's kind of like, you know, that lunch meat when you're doing the like, hey, smell okay? Am I gonna get horribly sick by eating this? You know, you don't want to get to that point. Instead, you're like, oh yeah, it's good. It's good. You buy less each time, make less each time, make it more frequently, so you don't have to do the. Is this still good? Is this still good? Could you keep any puffer with blood parrot cichlids? I've got a 55-gallon, and she's so nice with everybody in the aquarium. Could it work or a bad idea? Maybe a Shodanai puffer. Maybe. I'm trying to think of any other puffer that I think reliably could work. Amazon puffers, so that one too, but not too many of them. Are shrimp safe with assassin snails? In my experience, basically safe. I've never noticed a big dent in population while keeping both at the same time. How long does Repashy powder last? I think till like the end of time. I've had like giant 4-pound things of it that have been like, this is expired by like years, and I mix it up and use it, and the fish breed and do all the stuff they do all the same. So yeah. Starting up a business, is there a suggested way to go through your videos to learn the most in starting a business, or just start from the beginning? So part of the problem is there's a lot of information that's going to be buried in live streams and just stuff like that, so that's going to be hard to find. Yeah, starting at the beginning is helpful. Seeing those day in the life of, that's going to give you at least a look into like the stress and the amount of work done each day to maybe do YouTube and run a store and that kind of stuff. But then there's also the Corey McElroy channel, which is dedicated to business. And so that has let me see if I can find it for you guys. That's got some videos that never made it to the main channel because they were, I guess, more business oriented. Is that right? Because they were more like a vlog of like going to China and seeing other things and not just straight up, this is just fish. It was like almost everything but fish, honestly. Let's see if I still have those videos. Yeah, so let me pop over here. And my wife's gonna love it because there's a horrible picture of her on this. It's gonna be great. So right here you've got, you know, this is, I do live streams on this channel, and you know, there's stuff about YouTube, and there's like a long time ago talking with Randy and Zenzo. It's funny how people that I would do these podcasts with, I ended up just hiring all of them. But then like this vlog here, where I was sourcing product in China, it's more of the behind the scenes, and it's all about product and stuff, and not about the fish necessarily. However, like there's a lot of business type stuff in there. I actually give this presentation at a convention, right? So you could watch that whole thing on social media. And then there's, yes, there is some fish stuff in here if you guys really want to see some more like footage on that. And then just my wife and I kind of vlogging and just, like here we were trying food, I think, right? Street food. So there are more videos and more stuff out there, but there's also, lots of little hidden gems in the main content too. So you also could listen to the Aquarius podcast, where whenever he interviews me, a lot of times there's a lot of business insight there too. Used to do. I've almost started that channel back up like twice a week for the past like 2 months. I literally almost streamed earlier today, but every time I've got this like guilt thing going on. Every time that I go to like, I could do a video where I should stream, I literally just go, I've got so much work to do. I really should just be working on that. And so I don't. That's where I want to. And then I'm always worried. I'm like, this is going to get me more in trouble. Whenever I talk about, like, I think the last time I streamed made Father Fish hate me for like the last 3 years straight. So I always get myself into trouble because I tell people the truth. Is the fly river turtle living up to all the hype you built up? Yes. Elmer is awesome. And how I know that is, so like my wife, we got our garage doors replaced and I parked my car in the garage. Finally, it's only been way too long. Well, today's many years old was the first time I got to park a car in a garage. That being said, so she didn't know I was in here, and this is to me what like living up to the expectation and the dream of fish. She comes in and she can't see me because the door's over here, right? And instantly she's like, "Ladybird, how you doing?" And I do the same thing. I talk to Ladybird from across the room, and I talk to Elmer every time I walk in the room. I say, "How you doing, Elmer Delmer?" Every day. And so if you're interacting, and we do the same thing with our dogs, right? We the minute the door opens, we're talking to them. And both that fish and that turtle both get that from me every single day that I'm out here. And I think that is the definition of like, oh man, are you really into that? Like, yes, I treat it like it's my kid basically. So yeah, living the dream for me. What substrate or filtration for a very old 2.5 metaframe tank? I'm just going to do plants and shrimps. I like normal, neutral gravel. And people poo-poo that, but it's so versatile, easy to take care of. I'm actually going to start doing more like smaller 10-gallon under tanks, and most of it's just going to be like, check it out, it's normal gravel. Yeah. Can I help organize some sort of event like Aquashella in Nevada or Utah? Probably not. It takes such a monumental amount of work to pull off a big show like that it's scary. Like just peeking in behind the curtains and go, oh my gosh, that is a headache. And then I close the curtain and go, yeah, I don't want to do that. So, I mean, I'm a good hype man of like, I'm going, you guys should go, I'll make it really fun. Not so good at like, I don't know if you guys watched the video I shared, but like they have the laser show, and so the guy that does the lasers does all the stuff that's gonna be shown on the walls, like our commercials and logos and all that kind of stuff, right? But they were talking about how they have to schedule with the fire marshal to turn off the fire alarm so that the smoke, like the fog machines can work, because you can't see the lasers and stuff without the fog, right? And so just coordinating all that kind of stuff, you get lost in the mountains of stuff that has to get done, and checkoffs and all of that stuff. And I know I don't have time to see like something like that through, where I can promote the heck out of an event and make it super fun. That I can do. The old timers in my garden club have seen several cycles in the houseplant popularity. I believe it. And don't get me wrong, I mean, I hope all of you that are into houseplants keep this a forever hobby, because forever hobbies are amazing. But don't be shocked when I'm like, see, you went from 492 different houseplant species to like, oh, you have 6. Like, oh, you're back to a reasonable human being. Right now, everyone's just in that booming stage of like, I need a plant room, right? And there's always going to be people that will always have a plant room or always have, a fish room. And then there's going to be people like, yeah, I went too far and then life came back and like, now I just keep 3 aquariums. How far out are the carriers telling you to expect before the overseas logistics bottleneck begins to ease? They basically say that there's no end in sight. The official reports say like 2024. So, but, throw in a war here, throw in a delay there, another COVID variant there, like who knows? It could also be one of those things that the delays might get better, but then pricing doesn't go down. And we're still waiting on catch-up in that people like us as consumers have changed. We straight up just go to retail stores less than we did before the pandemic. And a lot of people are like, ooh, that's nice and easy. I'm going to keep doing that. And so the people that will keep that mentality will further put that stress and demand on all of the systems. And the systems take years to build more ships, more cargo containers, more delivery trucks, more last mile delivery. All of those systems have to work their way up. And so it's going to be years until we, the studies show that we basically progressed on the timeline 10 years in 1 year. So where we thought, that people studying the industry thought online shopping would be and all of that would be in the year like basically 2030, happened in 2020. So that threw everyone's projections off of like, well, how big would the post office need to be? How many UPS trucks and FedEx trucks and Amazon trucks, and how many cargo containers does that look like, and how many ships moving around does that look like? How many planes? And so they forecast all that out because it takes, years to fulfill that plane order and all of that. And then when you jump ahead, like to catch up is still like, they don't build faster, they build at the rate they were. They might be able to go, well, we can build them 10, 20% faster. That's still going to be years lag though. Would any niche products like the Zis breeder box connector ring ever show up on the member page of the store? No, and I'll tell you why, specifically that product, because they don't make that product anymore. We asked about it, and they've discontinued the boxes that those are and the rings between them. So, because we thought about that, we were like, oh, let's carry those rings. And they're like, oh, we don't do that anymore. So that product won't. In general, though, niche products won't be just members only. The only way a product gets to be members only is if something like it became unprofitable for us. We intended to launch both those products completely to everybody, and then got into this like, uh-oh, that's not going to work. And so now we have a bunch of units that have to sell. And then, so I guess I should follow that up with like that Easy Green brine shrimp or Easy brine shrimp salt. When it sells out, we're not bringing more in. So, you might buy a bag or two, and that's going to last. Like a bag like that, going to last most breeders a long time, right? But unless the landscape, the shipping landscape changes a bunch, we just can't afford to do it. So. What did Casual do? Casual was advertising his own group and things like that. So basically, as a courtesy, you don't go to other places of business and advertise your own group or business or anything like that. And it's a courtesy thing. And, it's the same reason that when I go to other people's live streams, I stay relatively quiet. I'm not trying to detract from their chat or steal the show or anything like that. If people have questions, you can take that to, like the forum, and that might be a place where you could guide somebody, but even there we have rules and things like that. Usually you can get to the answer you're trying to get to without putting it in front of a bunch of people. That's a very simplistic thing that I realize now, processing what I've said. It still doesn't explain the full reason, but just know that it doesn't make sense to advertise other things for us when we're putting on the show. Yeah, I don't know. I'd have to film a better part to fully explain why, because it probably just sounds like, oh, look at that guy. He's just trying to take advantage of people. That's not the intent. But there's also, like, we have to be even-handed where you could be saying this place is great. The next person says that place is terrible. And we don't want to start any of that kind of stuff either. Can you make co-op earbuds so I can secretly watch FishTube while in bed? Just get yourself some Apple Pods Pros. Or I could just be like Beats by Dre. He made like 700 million from that deal. Sold it to Apple himself. Let's see here. So hot in here today. 83 degrees, going up. Any suggestions to keep my platies from eating all my snail's food? You could make a little Tupperware container, cut some holes that your platies can't get into, put the food in there. You can sink it down with that, and your snails will go in, they'll eat, and then they'll crawl back out. That's one way to do it. Let's see here. Let's see. Just thought shirts was cool. I'd rather the sweats or a hoodie. Wish you'd done events in eastern states, Indiana, Ohio, Michigan. Yeah, I mean, there's there's lots of places we need to do it, but not everywhere's got an event that makes it easy for us to do it. It's also easy to wish, like, oh, the shirts are cool. Wish you'd give us a hoodie. Like, sure, hoodies also cost me $29 each. My cost. Like, that gets real expensive when you give out. Let me do that math for you real quick. Let's see, calculator, 1,800 times $29. Yeah, it's $52,000 to give away 1,800 hoodies. So that's not happening. I tried to find a question from a member that I couldn't find. Dang it. Starting up a small fish room, 30 plus aquariums. Any tips on must-haves in the room? Been in the hobby for 20, but first fish room. We've got some live streams and podcasts dedicated to that, but my biggest tip is always lots of dehumidifier. That'll be your heat and keep you reasonably dry in there. Still scanning for that question. Yeah, I was looking for Mad Medics, and yeah, I thought he was helping me answer a question. I got an important one. I haven't seen the question, so I apologize. It's impossible for me to find stuff, I swear. My wife gave me an ultimatum, a baby or a Great Dane. What'd you name the dog? Let's see here. Have I ever tried setting up an aquarium using a plenum? No. Is this member only? Yes. Any ballpark price point on that CO2 regulator? I have some between 70 and 200 plus, and I don't see $130 worth of difference. Let me see if I can find it. Let me put an honest attempt here. My light is in the way. That's what makes it so hard. Let me see if I can see what the cursory pricing is. And this is barring changes, right? Let's see if I can find it. Oh, my feeder's going off. CO2 regulator, pricing. Do I have it here? Of course not. I've got it in a different Excel spreadsheet. I want to say off the top of my head, our regulator shooting for like the $119.99. So it's like 120 bucks with a warranty and a manifold that expands up to 5. It'll come with 1, but you can expand it. I think the manifolds are going to be like 20, 25 bucks, something like that. And yes, in my opinion, they're equivalent to regulators that sell for like $400. So yes, cutting out a lot of middlemen. My wife must have found that question because she sent me something. Here we go. No, this is from Candy, but I'll read it anyway. Oh wait, this is probably the question from Mad Medic. Yes, okay. I got new baby leopard frog plecos that are 1 inch. They've got sunken bellies, and I can't afford to lose them. And let's see, not sure they're eating. My new leopard, yeah, here we go. Cost me a small fortune. I don't have Repashy. Yeah, so I would say Repashy would be a good one to get a hold of. I would also say frozen bloodworms, another good thing. Both of those. Make sure they're not competing with other fish for the food. And then, I don't know what your source was, but hopefully they don't have internal tapeworms and stuff yet. So if they're already weak, get some food in them. Raise that temperature probably to like 82 is what I'd be doing. And then I'd be offering both those types of foods like daily. Leopard frogs, you know, to put weight on them, they're going to want the protein. I see someone here recommending squash, you know, cucumber and zucchini and all that. Those will keep food moving through them, but not necessarily going to help bulk them up. But yeah, I'd make sure they're not competing for food with other fish. Keep the temperature hot so metabolism's racing, and give them a variety until they really start chomping down. Ooh, that's a good statement. ADH Aquatics, become a member. True words. Corey, in my business, I notice growth comes in seasons, then followed by a season of refining. Do we have similar ebbs and flows? We definitely do. I think part of it is the way your brain works. Like you work really hard, and then you almost have to rest up, and then you can finally step back and go, that's how we can make things better. Like I'll be honest. One of the things I'm working on right now is, do we want to replace, and you guys can let me put a poll up here. Well, I haven't done a poll in a long time. Let me see if I can change these. All right, the poll's going up. So one of the things I've been working on is, do we want to keep giving away stickers, or do we want to start giving away other things, right? And so like right now, we give an insane amount of Cardinal Tetra stickers out because you get those for your first order, right? There's a lot of people that never create an account, right? And so they're getting Cardinal Tetra stickers over and over and over again. But what if, like, on your second order, you got a Murphy pin, and on your fifth order, you got an Aquarium Co-op mug, right? And on your 10th order, you got something like a hoodie, right? Which that's completely different than right now. Every order you do, you get a different sticker. So we basically would be trying to reward people for being loyal and ordering more and things like that versus stickers each and every time. There also could be a hybrid, like, okay, we could have a sticker be for, you know, the second order every time, but the fifth order gets something else. Yeah, keychains. One of the swag pieces that I met with, he had like the, you know, like the floaty keychain type of deal, and yeah, so those would be kind of fun because it makes sense with. I mean, I've got other prototypes, like a certain type of algae scraper. We've got ideas, right? And I'm just trying to see if it makes sense. Because as our warehouse gets more and more packed, as we do more orders, like, it might not seem like a lot to, what is this? Yeah, this is a business card. It might not seem like a lot to, scan this, go bloop, put it in the thing, it goes down a conveyor belt, they scan it, bloop, and they put it in. But now you do that 600 times a day for the one freebie item, right? That ends up being like, oh, that's a third of an employee every day to stickers, where it could be, okay, well, what if we give stuff away less time or less often? So that saves us employee time, which means we could give you more expensive things, right? So it wouldn't have to be a sticker. Now it's a pen or I can't think of other good things, but instead of something that costs us like 75 cents, maybe now it's something that costs us $2, right? So you could still buy the stickers and, we could maybe find other ways to give them away and that kind of stuff, but we're, so back to the original question of, and it could be discounts too, like, right? So it could be like, hey, on your 5th order, you get a discount or whatever all these things look like, but optimizing, like, yeah, we brought out the stickers and people liked it a bunch. And now we're looking back on it and going, okay, well, where we're at in business now, does it still make sense? Should we change it a little bit? Yeah, things like that. So that'll be useful to us. I filled 90% of my order online, then decided it would be more fun to go in the retail store. True, true. What are some other options? Earbuds, pen, whistle, keychain, mouse pad. Yeah, I mean, it's kind of that stuff, but also, discounts, other freebie items, like maybe it's a free plan. Like, what else could it be? I'm trying to think what else it can be without going like, you said it could have been this thing, like you said it could have been Ferraris, and it's like, oh, it turns out it wasn't Ferraris, Yeah, I don't know what. Well, okay, so here might be a good one, right? Maybe when you place 20 orders or whatever it looks like, right? We pick a number, and 20 orders is a lot. You get a free Aquarium Co-op insulated tote that we would have to sell for X amount of money, right? Or whatever that looks like, because it takes up a lot of space to ship, and we're not even sure we're even going to ship them. But maybe it makes sense that, hey, if you're going to do 20 orders with us, on that 20th order, boom, you get this thing. What does Elmer sound like? I don't know. I haven't really given him a little Elmer voice yet. He hasn't entered my mind to be thinking yet. What do I recommend? Remineralizing water, RO water in a cichlid tank? Usually I recommend your tap water. So you might take 70% RO water, mix it with 30% tap water, and now you got harder water where you want it. Obviously you adjust the the ratios to where you need to go. Someone just made me think of, we're doing a whole new program that I don't want to tell you guys about, because if I tell you, then everyone will just do it and it'll ruin it. But there's other programs too that we're doing that, like, so few people are ever going to be a part of it, but it'll be awesome. Yeah, and I can't even really give more details. And it's not by money. I think actually none of these people spent money, but yeah, lots of projects, because we have a lot of people on the team now. We're like 35 employees, and people come with good ideas, and I go, great, it's now your job. And so we start doing more and more stuff. 5th order is a back scratcher. I like that. 10th order is 1 co-op sock. That'd be amazing. I should do that, troll. 10th order is 1 co-op sock, and the 11th order is the other co-op sock. Oh, you got it, 15th. My wife's already a step ahead of me. She's on my level of troll. The 800 gallon looks a lot greener and clearer than usual. Yeah, I had the light out. You guys will see the video of it actually. Ladybird was sick, and I treated her and all that, and yeah. So that's the next video to come out, I believe, actually. Let's see here. Buy 10 plants, get one free or lesser value. I mean, we kind of have that. Right now you save 5% on plants, so you'd have to buy 20 to get one free. But yes, that's in the same vein and line of thinking. Free hoodie after your 500th purchase. We'll make it like a bedazzled with gold hoodie. Would our order count be retroactive? Yeah, so your guys' accounts right now, however many orders you've done is just what your account is. So that does lead to some problems of like, oh no, I've ordered 20 times. I'm never going to get what the reward was for 5. But in theory, you got the stickers, right? And there's no way to like retroactive like ship this and this and this. Like that kind of system will never work, because it's like, what happens when we evolve it again in 2 years? Like, oh, you get all these rewards. Pretty soon we'll do the math. Like, wait a second. They spent $50 on the order, but over the years we've given them $60 worth of free swag. Like, dang it. So it's always like a going forward type of thing. An electric kazoo. When are we making the Aquarium Co-op members only jackets? We should do a thing where it's like Letterman jackets from high school or whatever. So you got to get like your name on it, and you have to spend money, and you can like get whatever quality you want. That sounds like a nightmare. The hardest thing I'm trying to get my head around is, what I don't want to have happen is we make some member only merch like that. Like, let's say it's a jacket, right? And you get the person that subscribes for like a minute and a half, or becomes a member for like a minute and a half, orders that thing, cancels the membership, and then like preys on the goodwill of like a Twin City Guppies. Like, well, of course, remember, I have the jacket. You know, I don't want to put these people that we're starting to partner with in those situations. So I'm hesitant. Like, yes, some people will wear their sweats with, you know, the Aquarium Co-op member out and about, but not nearly as much as like a jacket, for instance. And you know, I haven't figured out how to keep like an item that's going to be able to update, like you know, whether it's a scannable card or whatever it is. There's always people that game the system, and already, you know, we've had stuff like people trying to game the scratch and dent and all of that, and we have two options always. One is like kill it and be like, oh, try to do a good thing, people are ruining it, or just to tell people no, and we're just telling people no. You know, it's like, nope, that's not how it works. Don't kill it for everybody. The real question is, if the co-op branded bubblegum, what flavor would it be? Oh, that's easy, nacho flavor. Tell me you wouldn't chew on gum that tastes like nachos? The one thing we could do, nope, that might, well, no, we might be, I just had an idea. So imagine you have a card. We could ship you a card with a QR code that in theory would, if you scanned it, open up your YouTube channel to the right membership page. So in theory, you could pull that card out, someone with a phone scans it, it would open up, oh, but it might show, it would probably be like, you need to log in. So, but we could test that. Something like that could maybe work. We're always one step away. You guys don't like nacho gum? What's wrong with you? People joke, wait on that request to squish a box for me. We've already had to deal with this. Literally, my team was like, do we just shut this down now? Do we just kill it? Like, we like put some items up, and like within a day we were already having problems with scratch and dent. Like, oh jeepers! And I was like, let's give it some time. If people don't make this a problem, it's not a problem. If people want to keep making it a problem, we'll be forced to quit it. So hopefully we won't run into too many problems like that. I've had all my fish stuff in storage for 6 months, and it's killing me. I love these live streams. Help me pretend I'm active in the hobby. Well, you got lots of time to plan. That's the good news. Plan and research. Cool Ranch gum. Okay, but it's got to be like minty Cool Ranch, so that way you're like, what is that like? Is it menthol that does that? What is that? Where when you breathe in, it feels cool. It's got to be that kind of Cool Ranch. Gross. Oh man. So to be fair, people aren't always dishonest. A lot of times people are being honest, but there's a lot of situations in life where maybe you just let it go. I'm trying to think of like a good example of you just let it go. Like for me, I can give an example of when I would be a let it go type of scenario. All right? For me, it would be, let's say I'm out to dinner and there's a bunch of tables, the place is packed, they're understaffed, there's a baby losing its mind that's throwing food all over the place. The next table over has got a super aggressive table where they're like yelling at the waiter or waitress and life is horrible over there and it's just an absolute madhouse. And when my order comes in, it turns out I wanted ground beef on my nachos and instead it was chicken. That's right. I'd just be like, ooh. And I would just be like, screw it, I'll just eat it. Like, it's going to be too much work and delay everything else too much. But even that's like a mess up, right? But I can't think of other situations in life. Now, if someone's allergic, I totally get it. Like, there's a bunch of times when you can't just do that, but finding more ways, you're like, I was on the fence of going chicken or ground beef anyway, like, And, that's, not always is it someone being dishonest. It's just like, meh. I had a baby losing its mind on the way back from Orlando. I flew back on Sunday, which in hindsight, terrible idea, because there was way too many people at the whatever, like, 8 billionth anniversary of Disney Wonderland or whatever. And, it was kids as far as the eye could see, and they were all in different states of Disney meltdowns. It was quite a trip. So I bet if I had flown Monday instead, kids would already be like back to school or whatever, and I learned that. Have you ever tried developing your own strain of guppies? No, I'm far too lazy. It's a pipe dream of like, that could be awesome, and then in actuality, way too lazy. Too much work for me. Would you do roseline sharks in a 75? Yes. And then I read the question earlier, I never addressed it, but I'd also do it in the 60 breeder from Aquarium. And yes, I have seen that aquarium. Not in person though. How about Aquarium Co-Op Daycare? I need a break. Oh, don't worry. We are already that. We have so many people that are like, let's go to the free public aquarium and hopefully my kid will wipe its snot all over the front of the tanks. We literally have like the look in the store of when like a known offender rolls through and you give like the other employee a look of like, oh no. Because the minute they're done, which is like 45 minutes, that you have to go through and wipe kid snot off of the whole bottom row of every tank in the store. So, and then also we get calls all the time, which is one of the reasons we took, only part of the reason, but one of the reasons our phone number isn't online because people think Aquarium Co-Op is a daycare, and so they're asking to get on the list to get their kid in there. And it's like, no, we're a retail store. And they're always like, yeah, but how long to get on the list? Like, we're not a daycare. You have to say it like 3 times for like, oh, click. Yeah. Oh, I know what's coming for me. When I go to Twin City Guppies, Kangley has a, as I call it, a tornado of kids. I think he's on like 6. He's got like 6 kids, and they're all kind of awesome. And I say kind of because in general, I don't have time for kids. But his kid's relatively well behaved, and they're as cute as can be. And his latest kid has a white hair streak that is cool. Like, I wish I had that white hair streak. But I haven't met that kid yet. I also had one time a kid where the parent spends lots of money in our store, but the kid was just a terror. And I specifically remember one time, both Robert and I were in the store, and we like turn around, and this kid, you just see it stomping on, you know, one of those pouches that has applesauce in it. The top is off, stomps the applesauce, and kablam! It just like fans out the store. And then of course you get the parent like, oh, you know, Junior, don't do that. And they were apologetic and everything, but it's like, you know, they're like, oh, I'll get some paper towels. And it's like, you just want to say, this ain't just a paper towel job. This is going to be like, we got to get out the carpet cleaner and everything tonight after you leave, because it is everywhere. And the walls and the merch, and it was a disaster. Yeah. But yeah, I should just make a video of that, of like the, oh my gosh, is that a real thing? There's also there's also always the stories of letting people, like we have a public bathroom, but just the stuff that can go down in a public bathroom. Like, how'd this even happen? Was an elephant in here? Did they explode? How'd they make it out of the building without us noticing? Like, for the amount of carnage that went on in here, how'd they not get any on themselves? Hey, the carpet, at least no one slipped. That carpet keeps people from slipping. Shout out from a bristlenose and pleco breeder in Melbourne, Australia. Don't often get to watch, my brain is just shutting down. Don't often get to watch live. I think it's like in the next week, because we shared a booth, or at least we were right next to Extreme the whole time. I think like it's literally like 7 to 10 days from Extreme hitting fish stores in Australia. So, but once I get the official word, I'll sing it from the rooftops so everybody can go and harass their local stores. Giving members the option to buy something at cost is a good idea, someone mentioned. That is a terrible idea. That instantly gives all my competitors the price that we're paying for items, and then also would probably break lots of company agreements we have to not sell below map. So, yeah, we would probably rather give an item away for free than give that information to our competitors. That being said, we'd rather find more clever ways to engage with our buyers. Buyers? Customers. Buyers sounds so like, find a better way to interact with member 29643. Impersonal. Impersonal? That's not a word. My brain can't find a better word though. Do you have a trick to get a datinoid off frozen krill besides starving it? Yeah. So try giving it some cocktail shrimp. See if you can get it eating that. If you can't, well, I'll start if you can. If you can, then you can put pellets. You butterfly the cocktail shrimp, put pellets in the back. It'll start eating that, and then hopefully you can get it onto the pellets. The other way is to soak the frozen krill with pellets, feed them all at the same time, and over time, start removing the krill so that only the krill flavored pellets are going in, and then over time after that, stop soaking in as much krill, and then basically no krill. That would be the progression. Impersonal. Yeah, impersonal, not impersonal. I will say our public bathroom is clean because I am a stickler about it. But yes, public bathrooms, they're a gamble. For me, whenever I go to the public bathroom, like at a convention, right? You're there long enough, like I'm at the convention for 3 days straight. Eventually, you got to sit down on a toilet. And at least in men's toilets, you're pretty much going, okay, let's see. Will there be any toilet that isn't just covered in pee all over the thing? And if they're good at taking care of their facilities, you roll in, you go, sweet, I could use this thing. Which I will say, Aquashella, bathrooms, ultra clean. The very first Aquashella, that place was overwhelmed, not ultra clean. At this convention center, this last one, perfect. I would not have a problem using that bathroom. In fact, I changed in that bathroom into airplane clothes. So, nice and clean. Is it okay to use Repashy straight out of the bottle dry? Yeah, it works kind of like a replacement to our fry food. It's finer than that. Or like Hikari First Bites. It's a very fine powdery food that'll float on the top. Can work really well for things like not newly hatched, but very small, like rainbows and other types of tetra or schooling type fish. Looking forward to the new heater. What aspects did you try and put the Aquarium Co-op touch and spin on? There wasn't a whole lot that we can do that we were successful in. Basically, the only things we were able to do is make the cord long enough to rappel down a small building. So it's a long cord. And then also the adjustment of, temperature up and down is on the outside of the aquarium. So you don't have to get your hands in there. That being said, a heater kind of gets down to there's not a lot of parts to really switch in and out. We also made it very compact. So it's a very compact heater in comparison to a lot of heaters, which I like that because it's easier for me to hide. So, yeah. And we're also launching only the 100 water. So I know that we're going to have to do videos on it and blog articles on it, and Candy's going to have to macro on it like, why don't you sell 200 watt, 300 watt, 250 watt, 75 watt? This guy over here says 125 watt. And we're going to have to explain, because 100 will do all of them. But I have a giant aquarium. What do I do now? You use more than one, right? And the goal is to keep the price down, keep the longevity up, offer a good warranty, take care of our customers, and all of that. And the more SKUs you add, like trying to get one product working perfectly, and I'll give you a good example of this. So like the Neotherm cobalt heaters, they had the 25, the 50, the 75, the 100, the 150, the 200, and the 300, right? Everything over the 150 would explode. Everything under the 150 worked fine. And it's because you test one, maybe you tested the 100, and you kept applying more and more power to it. Well, eventually they got too hot and they would just explode. And so we get to focus on just one and making sure just one won't explode and it works and it's reliable, instead of going like, oh, the voltage is down here, the voltage is up here, the size is changing, the housings are changing, the packages are changing. We can focus on just make one that works really well. More SKUs, more problems. Amen, Sarah P. Amen. Have I ever seen the Rat King redworm parasite in a fish tank? It's like a ball of round worms that link together to make a tangle. I don't think so. I'm not sure I've seen that. Or maybe I have, and I just don't know if it is the Rat King parasite. I don't think so, though. No joke, by the way, the Fish Tank Barn, he says he's disappointed I'm a 6,000 watt heater. They have like 20,000 watt heaters when you go to the trade shows, because a lot of companies and things like that, more is better, right? Like, instead of focusing on how do we make a heater more reliable, they're like, how do we sell more heaters? Let's make it do more heat. And at 20,000 watts, like, what are you doing with that thing? And, you know, they're like, we can sell it to aquaculture, water treatment facilities, and large aquariums. Like, good Lord. What is my wife talking about? I've seen the Rat King, he just forgets? I mean, like, maybe yeah, I don't know. Just run a CPU heatsink in your aquarium. To be fair, like right now with the lighting, we're working on ballast. I'm trying to get my ballast to be run cooler. It's not at unsafe temperatures. It's actually fairly cool as far as ballasts go. I just know enough to know customer service when people are like, ooh, that's warm. Is it supposed to be that warm? You know, and so if I can make my ballast run cool to the touch, we won't even have to answer those questions. But, you know, it's like when you touch your laptop and you're like, ooh, that's hot. It's like, yeah, I've had that thing running at max capacity. Kind of the same thing at lights, you know. You're like, well, you got that light cranked up. It's going to run hot. When do I reckon I'll ship internationally? At this rate, never. It's easier for me to say never, and then when it comes through, I'll just let you guys know. I asked on Monday. Guess what the answer was? Yeah, we're still working on it. So, I don't know. It's a big disappointment. Does the co-op have a heater controller? No, we don't. Yeah, we haven't started working on anything like that yet. It's easy just to, like, you know, it's not like launching a product. It's like, well, I wrote it down, and so therefore we're doing it. Like, we have a list of products we start working through, and some of them take insane amounts of time. And even easy products take a long time. And so it's like, oh yeah, a temperature controller. The amount of testing I can think of that I need to put into that, like, if I started today, we might be ready in a couple of years. And we just have, like, we got to get a heater going before we'd ever get a temperature controller going. How many days until the Canadian market gets the co-op products? Last I heard, it was 1,392 days. So just put that on a countdown and wait for it. Whenever the power is out for more than a few hours, my fish act more relaxed. Do I think it could be noise pollution? I answered this in the comment. You must not have got the thing, but yes, I think it's a little bit noise pollution. I think it's a little bit lighting and current, right? So typically we have either a sponge filter or something going on. I think all of those things in general cause a reactionary change in the fish of like, this isn't normal, and they calm down. I enjoy it quite a bit, and you can replicate it. I've known some breeders that like they have their air pump on like a remote control, and so they can turn the air pump off for like an hour while they feed, so that way sponge filters and stuff's not sucking up live baby brine and all of those types of things. And the fish do act that way even when you turn off the air. And so we see that also when we're filming. If we go into a place that's got super loud, like a blower, and we need it to be quiet for the audio, but all the fish act weird. Like, not weird, but not how they're supposed to be acting on video. So it's a weird thing when people start going, hey, that fish is acting funny. It's like, oh, we had to turn off all the air so that you could hear what we were saying. But yeah, I don't know if is it lighting, is it noise pollution, is it current? One of those things has to, or maybe it's a culmination of those things lead to the different behavior out of fish. A little hypoxia during the power outage? I don't think so, because when you turn out the power or like everything shuts off to a tank, even like 2 minutes later, they act way different. It's not like hours and hours and hours later, but just like a couple of minutes, not instantly, but like really quickly, their whole demeanor changes. So I don't think it's a lack of oxygen. You're a baller when you get longfin green dragons donated to you. Well, a lot of these people that I get stuff donated from, I've also donated a lot to. So I can't remember specifically if I gave those green dragons, but a lot of times I'll find stuff that I'm like, and back in the day, the green dragons would have been hard to get a hold of. And I'm like, okay, let me get them to someone who will start breeding them because I might not have time or I might be working on other projects. And so eventually stuff will make its way back to me of like, hey, you know. But I can't remember if this person, if she bought them originally from the store I used to work at, or if I just made a good deal or whatever. But I've gotten her some other fish over the years too. So battling ick on my rams and my bristlenose plecos for a week. Dosed Isha exit and 2K, but there's only slight improvement. So the problem is I haven't used any of those medications. So I don't know their, I get to use a fancy word, their efficacy on these fish. And so, which that just means how effective it's going to be. So I don't really have great tips other than I bet you could be using some salt in there and possibly elevated temperature. But like with rams should be at 82 to 85 anyway. And a lot of times that's just already harsh on ick. And let me do that conversion because it sounds like you're probably wanting Celsius. So 85 degrees to Celsius. It's gonna be what, like 29. So like 29 or yeah, like 29 Celsius might just help you fight that ick off anyway and make your ram happier. What was the other word I used the other live stream that I was impressed about? I can't remember what that word was, but I was actually correct in using it too. I love how my brain can just like forget my own name or just like random easy words, and then it pulls out efficacy. And it's probably just because it's probably because like in the last week I've been reading a paper on some medication or something and they use the word efficacy, and then my brain just, oh yeah, medication, let's associate that. I'm at work and watch the replay. So this is for Rag Tatter. Any tips for ridding a 30-gallon tank of Hydra? It's heavily planted, stocked with nerite snails, cherry shrimp, and glow-light tetras. Tank is self-feeding on microfauna. Ooh, that's going to be harder if it's self-feeding, but we put out a blog article and a video. My advice would be trying something like a sparkling or croaking gourami to start kind of eating away at that, but it's going to vastly diminish your natural fauna, microfauna too. But hopefully, you know, right now, I guess your Hydra are also feeding on that. And so, yeah, you might just watch this kind of crash in populations in terms of the microfauna, but then it should come back with less Hydra. I did say I might bring home a dog from Aquashella. I was hoping that I would like, there'd be, you know, like a dog breeder or something, be like, oh my God, it's the cutest puppy ever, and I just fly home with it. Didn't happen though. Which I'm glad. That would have been a lot of work and all of that. But I like to threaten my wife with such good threats of like, keep it up. I'll adopt a puppy. I'll do it. I'll do it. Problem says he or she is setting alarm for 1,392 days. You got it. If that comes to fruition, we're not shipping. I owe you something. I don't know what it. Maybe I'll specifically ship you one package, even if we don't officially do it. Do you have a bulk easy gain option? I've got 65 planted tanks. The swords are looking a bit weak these days. We don't really have a bulk option because it never shipped really well. So we'd have to re-engineer it because like a pound, or not a pound, but a gallon. We used to sell it in a gallon. A gallon of Easy Green was a force to be reckoned with. Like if it got dropped, it would break, and we were losing money left and right with those things. And so yeah, but the fact that your Amazon swords need help, root tabs. We do have that in bulk, 60 at a time. That'll fix up your sword plants in no time. Also, we made Easy Green to like the same money. So one of the reasons we got rid of the gallon was the Easy Green 16 ounce treats more now. And so it was like the same as buying the gallon. And so while and we looked at the plastic, it wasn't even like much more plastic at all. And in fact, it might have been less plastic. And so it's not even worse for the environment. And yeah, but there's no way to like save a ton of money on buying that. That's something else I go back and forth on. Eternally, I've got this internal struggle of like, I want to support people with fish rooms. How do we make it so that if they buy a ton of a product, the price can go down? The problem is every time I sneeze, the price goes up on everything, like shipping, like employee wages, just rent, like everything. Every time I sneeze, like, huh, we're paying more money for that. Great. And so on one hand, I want to save the, I want to save you guys money. And on the other hand, we're just not really raising prices, but like it's getting to the point of like, I don't know if we can hold out much longer. It's getting crazy. Salem, Oregon's not that far. You can drive up. I used to drive down to Portland, which I realize is further, or is not as far as Salem. But I would do that like once a month to go fish shopping, maybe once every 6 weeks to go fish shopping at the wet spot in Portland. But yeah, opening more stores, I can't. It's not even like want or don't want, just can't. Constantly having issues with ick and clown loaches. No other fish have it, and the medicine never seems to cure it. Temp is over 80. Look into your pH. If your pH is too low, it's going to constantly kind of be causing that stress. So try and keep the pH a bit up, like in the 7.5 range. All the curtains in our linen store just went up. Tired of re-stickering. Yeah, it's basically every time we go to reorder something, it's like, by the way, like, no joke. I was talking to a certain a manufacturer approached me and they're like, hey, we want you to do a video. We already sell their product. I'm not gonna tell you who though. And they're like, we want you to sell more and blah, 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 and whatever, right? And they're like, oh yeah, by the way, when this contract, they have a contract with some of the manufacturers that make their product. When this contract is over, their product goes up by 30%. And it's like, I don't know how you're going to absorb a 30% price increase because I don't think the customer is going to. But yeah. Oh, happy birthday, Punk. I can't say that 5 times fast. And welcome, Groovy Supply-iffy? Maybe. And then I missed another one, B. B is resubscribing. Let me find... Yeah, I guess we're out of questions. We'll just sit here in silence. Next time Dean brings in discus, I might have to make another trip. Fair. Yes. I get to see Dean on Friday. So my auto water change controller-y thingy is not working correctly. I don't think a water change has happened in like 2 weeks. I noticed it the day before, of course. I left from Aquashella, and I'm like, man, the water levels, like, what is going on in here? Originally, I thought like maybe one of the standpipes was a little loose, and the water level was low. And then I'm like, wait a second, I don't think any of these are getting water changed. So I tested it, didn't work, and so now we're gonna have to. I gotta call the company. Maybe it's gonna be recalibrated. I don't know what the dealie is, but gotta figure it out because my plants need more Easy Green from the auto doser. I finally bought a new 50-gallon. I thought I knew exactly what I wanted to do with it, but now I'm conflicted. I definitely need to move a few less aggressive cichlids into it. But then you add yourself an albino Senegal bicher. That's what you do. All right. It's Rochelle from Canada. I always get you guys to ship to Texas where my friend ships to me. Candy is always so great to deal with. All right. So now I'll try to remember that name. So if in 1,392 days we're not shipping there already, which we really should be, then I'll have to do it. From Irene O'Doyle Rules. Thanks for all you do for the hobby. I've learned so much. I'm talking like an idiot here. I think it's because there's no punctuation. So I just started reading and then I was like, wait, with no punctuation, this is not the right flow for this. Well, there's punctuation at the end, but all right. Thanks for all you do for the hobby, Corey. I've learned so much. My fish keeping hobby is just getting better and better, going on 23 years now. Well, good. I'm glad to hear it. Let's see. My manager chat's blowing up here all of a sudden. Let's see what's going down. I don't know if I can show this without making. Dean is talking to us saying that. Can I show this? Hopefully it won't show anything, but he's almost overflowed a sink while he's listening to live stream. Even better. Dean's the king of overflowing. I don't know how. I'm putting my fairy Burchardi couple over in the 50. They will own that thing. And what I mean by that is Burchardi cichlids are very territorial. Some of the coolest fish to watch spawn and raise up fry, but they will do that. How can you establish microfauna in a tank? I'm interested in a self-feeding tank. Well, self-feeding is kind of a misnomer because what am I trying to say? You're going to need to be like, here's my 800-gallon tank. I have 6 neon tetras and a bunch of microfauna. Like, most people won't keep the style of tank you need to do. Or you have a giant sump, but you could introduce things like different types of worms and scuds and seed shrimp and maybe even like cherry shrimps. You get all that stuff breeding and going and marinating, right? And then that would be food for some of the other fish. But if you have too many fish, those populations can't breed at a rate that will outpace them being consumed. And so therefore, you'll run into problems. Would I secure the top of a big outdoor pond so jumping types can't get out? I have, but most times I just run the water level down a little bit lower, and what I'll do is I'll drill some small holes wherever the water line I want that to be is, and then that way if it rains a lot, it kind of just overflows slowly through those. I've got a Buse wavy that's covered in algae. I pulled it from the main tank, but it's very unhappy. Can I save it? Yeah, I think you can. So the ways you would save it is maybe you got a small tank with an army of like a mono shrimp or maybe some Siamese algae eaters. That's one way to do it. If you're really like, I gotta save it at all costs and I got no other options because I'm in a dorm room and I got one tank and that's it, you could probably plant it in like a terrarium and keep the humidity at like 9 million %. And the algae is going to die off slowly, and a lot of those leaves are going to die off slowly, but the plant should convert and grow a little bit immersed. That being said, I would go with the army of algae eaters option if you got it. William says, just joined as a member. I have a 30-gallon that I want to try and keep some electric blue acara. I was thinking of adding rummy nose, a bristle nose, and a rainbow shark. Are these compatible? All those fish are technically compatible with one another. You might run into a little bit of space issues with that rainbow shark, but could be done. It depends if you've got one a little more on the more aggressive side or the lesser aggressive side, which you won't know if you haven't bought it yet. So usually I recommend about a 4-foot long aquarium for the rainbow sharks. Do I have any plans to go back to Goliad Farms? Yeah, so we haven't bought tickets for Aquashella yet, but I would say it's highly, highly likely that either before or after Aquashella Dallas, we will make a trip to Goliad Farms. Seems like if I'm going to that state, how do I not check in on that place? Love hanging out there. What would you do with 30 tanks that you cracked one side drilling a hole? I've got a pile of them. I would. So here's what I would do. So first, I would make sure they're all clean, right? I would inspect every side. I would take some alcohol, wipe them down. I would then get a van and I would lay down a blanket, right? And then I'm going to stack them and make sure they're not touching at all, right? So you got to be very careful and get all that done. Then I would drive as slow as I could to make sure I don't break any. And once I arrived at the dump, I would throw all 30 of them straight into the dump and shatter them. And the reason I say that is it's so difficult to start piecing those tanks together. And there's always a guy in the crowd that like, I've done it before. I get it. But then there's the rest of us in the crowd that like have a job and go to work. And then that outpaces putting those together because it's hard to do, a lot of work, and you have to have know-how to put these aquariums back together without just creating more problems. I have seen people do it. Randy, I'm talking to you, where they silicone another piece of glass over that crack. So your crack might be this way. Silicone another giant piece of glass, drill that piece of glass, and or drill another side, and then you just have a horrible looking aquarium that you will then swap out 8 months later when you're like, yeah, these just look terrible in comparison to the next $40 or whatever it is you need to buy the other aquarium. And I realize there's always going to be someone in the comments that chime in like, you shouldn't throw those away. You should upcycle them. You're right. That was meant to be funny. You could obviously donate them to a pet store that wants to use them for reptiles. They could, close off the hole, like whatever's going to get done. But basically, I wouldn't spend the time trying to make those work. Instead, go mow your neighbor's yard, and then buy new tanks, donate those ones somewhere else, and continue your life having fun in your fish room instead of the next 6 months of madness as you drill more, break more, snap panels, cut yourself, have to sand down sharp edges. Why isn't this lining up? Why is this still leak? That life is not the life for me. If you're dead set on saving the glass, use the panels or the biggest panes as lids. Yes, you'd have to know how to cut glass, and then again, you're back to sanding down sharp edges and all of that. Like, tank lids and tanks are fairly cheap. Not many places make any money on them. They're kind of like sell them at cost, make money on fish. And by the way, I don't even really sell tanks or anything, so it's not like I'm like, that guy's just trying to sell more tanks. We don't really sell tanks, so and I don't sell any online, so that's my honest advice. I'm setting up a 55-gallon, and I want to add platyfish, maybe even a betta in there. Could those go together? Probably. I would go with like a plaquette type, or a short fin betta is more likely to do well with those platies. But I had someone ask me a question very similar to this at the show, and the answer is it could work. You can also run into problems too. Just like I've got a dog. I'd like to get another dog. Are they going to get along? They could. They probably will. But what if they don't? Exactly. What if they don't? There's always going to be that chance that things don't get along. And so just be prepared for, well, I might have to separate them if that doesn't work out. Any Florida farm trips scheduled? Nope, none. I have not scheduled any. Those new nets you made are baller. All right. You should bring the dogs or your wife or team on more for videos. maybe then you would enjoy it more. I can guarantee I would not. Every element you add only makes my job harder. Now, let me put this in perspective for everybody, because it just sounds like I'm probably being not very fun. So imagine your job is to fix a car. You're a mechanic, right? And you do mechanic stuff all day long, every day. Now, you should bring your wife to do that. You should bring your brother, knowing that anyone you add to that project is only slowing you down unless you needed someone to help you physically do something, right? And that's the way, it's like, okay, so now you work, let's say you work at a restaurant. You should bring someone to help you. Like, that's only going to make it harder and slower. And the other problem I have is most times while I'm at work, so filming videos and doing all that kind of stuff, my wife is also at work. Now, her work is like today. Do I have this picture? Could I make this a real thing? Let me see. This light's just got to move. It's making me cranky. Can I make this a real thing? Let's see. Maybe I can do it here. I'll use this technology. So like while I was getting ready for the live stream, my wife was hitting up Costco and rating them for everything they were worth so that the warehouse and the retail store could be stocked up with drinks, because we give away free drinks to all our employees, as in sodas and juices and that kind of stuff, and Gatorades, and getting clams for Ladybird, bloodworm. She got Daphnia, she got spirulina brine shrimp. So she was doing all of those things also. Because this picture, because it doesn't sound like a lot of work until you see it. And then all of a sudden you're like, oh yeah, that's a lot of work. So yes, let's see if I gotta get the thing so I can see myself in this. But this is literally the biggest cart they have at the business Costco. That's all the drinks that get loaded up and go, and that's gonna last 4 to 6 weeks between warehouse and the store. So now let's see. We have Powerade, we have Squirt, we have Mug Root Beer, we have some Dr. Pepper, we have Sprite, we have Coke Zero, we have normal Coke, we have Diet Coke, we have Snapples, we have some of the ice water, Mountain Dew, Pepsi, and then also what you don't see is the stuff we already bought before this trip, which was like 6 more cases of stuff. So long story short, she's got her own work to be doing, and then I've got my own work, and then all of my employees are kind of the same way. So that's why I don't bring too many people in on it, because even like we've been trying to schedule Dean and I to work together because you guys want more Dean. I get it, me too. And we have to schedule specific days to do this kind of stuff, line up schedules, and it makes it harder instead of, oh, what am I doing right now? I could go film. Oh, but we need to do that part with Dean, or I got to finish that video up with my wife. Because also what you don't see when you're filming, things can go wrong. We're like, oh, I got to run to the hardware store. All right, then I can finish the video. Or, oh, I got to do this, I got to do that. And when you have someone else tagging along, you're wasting their time, essentially. My wife, I'm an excellent mechanic. I know where every single flux capacitor is in every single car. That's about the extent of my mechanical ability as well when it comes to cars. I'm like, they turn on, right? They don't turn on? Get a new one. God, I would hate to have to bring a friend to my mechanic job. I'd have to explain things for 4 hours before going out to the job. Yeah, that's... The more people that are on camera, the more chances you have of something going wrong and having to reshoot it and all of that. And so if I had a bunch of extra time, yes, it's fun and all of that, but it's kind of like, bring your kid to work day of like, no one really gets that much work done when you do that. Like you get some, but not nearly as much as you just put your head down and work. So Aquarium Co-op app, please. Bro. Psycho. We already have it. It's right here. It's the Aquarium Co-op app. Just loaded. Loaded all the live streams. Where are you at? It's right there. Look, it's got episodes, categories. You can share them, contact. You can set the alarm even. That's right. Where you been? Just goes to show how much we don't see. We don't see them. I don't even have the name straight. I don't even know what we're talking about, but it must be true. Oh, wait. About how many employees are at the warehouse and store on a typical day? Mondays are I think the biggest staffing day. I could tell you, let me see if I can log in without having to put in like crazy two-factor authentication. I can tell you how many people clocked in today. Let's see. Oh, it's gonna make a deal, but I think I can do it quick enough. Everything has to be locked down by at least two-factor authentication because we're like highly likelihood to be corrupted. Where am I looking for? Right here? Yeah, right here. Okay. Listen for the clicks. It's like tone dials. You can guess the temporary code that lasts 20 seconds. So the people, yeah, remember this device. All right, the people that work today. Let's see. Oh, I logged into the wrong thing even. I logged into payroll, not scheduling. What a new mistake. Let's see if I can even log into this anymore. Here we go. The people that work today, let's go to scheduler. I won't read off their names because I don't want to give other people's privacy away, but on today we had in the warehouse for warehouse associates, we had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Then we had 1 inventory specialist, so that's 9. We had a warehouse lead, that makes 10. And Robert's not on the schedule because he's a manager, so maybe 11. Plus, usually HR is there, so that'd be 12 in the warehouse. And then I got to flip to the other schedule to see the store. The store, I feel like, wait, what's today? I feel like this can't be right because it shows 1 person today, which my guess is it's 1 person and a manager. Tomorrow would be 3. Thursday would be 5. Yeah, I mean, maybe the stars have aligned to be like nobody's working today, but it seems real light. I could also be on the wrong schedule. Let's see. I don't know. I don't run this anymore. Anyway, so usually we've got, I want to call it, without including like, so the online team, right? You've got Candy, Jimmy, Lizzie, Irene, myself, my wife, Katie, and then you've got Zenzo, which he's not an employee. We hire him, long story short. Anyway, so that's like that was another 7, right? So technically, like today, 22 people are working, but there's probably more. I'm probably forgetting, like, what about? Oh yeah, and then we had the driver to pick up stuff from plants. That's another one. There's probably more I'm forgetting. So yeah, my wife said there was at least 2 people in the store today. That's because we've been hiring people. So brand new hires aren't on the schedule till the following month usually. And I know we have 1 new retail person and 2 new warehouse people. So we could have, those numbers could be padded with even more, I suppose. Can I make purchases from the app? You cannot, Psycho. You can only listen to the podcasts. We used to be able to do it a long time ago before like iPhones made it illegal to buy stuff and give information, basically. It's weird. Any Aquashella shirts left? There are, but they're probably on a semi-truck right now headed towards Dallas. When did the when the heck did the app become a thing? I think we launched this app in like 2016, 5 years ago. Is it normal for ember tetras to be fighting? The one tetra is guarding a part of the tank. Could be spawning activity you're seeing. They usually don't, fight really. Let's see here. Don't tell people my wife's real name shatters the illusion. That's right. I'm trying to think of. I always feel so terrible when I am done being live and I'm like, I forgot about them. I always assume they care. No one probably cares. I feel like, what if they do care and then I don't remember them? And yeah. I have a question. Why does my betta sorority be aggressive to my bottom feeders? Mostly just because you've got a bunch of aggressive fish in a tank. I mean, bettas are territorial and you got a bunch of them. And so that's kind of what leads to. It's kind of like having African cichlids where they're all kind of territorial. It's going to lead to just more of an aggressive tank than if you only had one, for instance. Can you give me some advice on making an investment in breeding group of Ancistrus or Hypancistrus? TJ, the fish dad, have you bred either of them? So if you can breed Ancistrus, do that. If you can also breed Hypancistrus, do that. Right? So basically the harder of thing you can breed and the more desirable it is, the more money you're going to make. That being said, like, you could pick a Hypancistrus that nobody wants, and I don't recommend that. Yeah, so everyone's talking about the app. There is a it's on my long-term roadmap to build like a really good app, but all the research I've done and everybody I talk to, it's basically the best way to throw away like $100,000. You spend somewhere between 50 and 100 grand to develop a really good app, and then you got to market the heck out of it, and then even then, not that many people will use it, and so right now, $100,000 is better spent launching the new light and things like that. So I do hope to get to a point where we could have a super app. Oh, that reminds me, I forgot a website feature I was going to show you guys. Because what led to that is I want the app to be, I would love it to notify you guys about new released videos and all that kind of stuff. And then I remembered, wait, I don't have that functionality, but I have something similar if my brain would catch up. So let me go back to the website. Magic, we're back. So I showed you guys about the club and everything earlier, but now we need this videos. I changed the way the video tag works. And so now you can see at the top here, we have our channel, and we've got these different playlists that you can click through. And it's like, let's say we were talking about members, or not members, different employees, right? Well, here's the, yeah, in fact, I didn't name, well, I think Robert's not working today, but I forgot Randy for the online team, if you will. This is the videos that we've shot on kind of different team members, but then, let's say you want to see top 10 lists, which I have here. We've got different live streams here, and because it's hard for people to find some of the videos we've done if you're new to the channel, like maybe you haven't watched all the videos we dedicated to plants and kind of like our Plant 101 series. And then we've got, like different videos on filtration and cleaning tips, right? So how to gravel vac and how to clean sponge filters and yeah, treating sick fish. These are all different videos on different medications, quarantine tanks, all that kind of stuff. So yeah, as time goes out, we'll probably build this out a little more and more as different care guides for different types of fish. And you can click down here and you can see more types of fish and even more types of fish, right? And then these are all like the Peru trips. Yeah, so new feature. Hopefully, it was, so I know people are gonna be like, why didn't you do the members? The members, it doesn't do it as like you're logged in. So I tried to do a members one, and it, like, no matter what you did, even if you like logged in, it still wouldn't let you watch them, and so that would just lead to frustration. So you still got to go to the community page to do YouTube member stuff. Yeah. All right, back to the main show. Hey, it's after 7. No one told me it was after 7. Man, you guys are just going to let me go forever, and I wouldn't even have known I was working after, like, we're cutting into trimming my dog's toenails and giving them a bath time, which really needs to be done. So I'm going to be cutting it short here soon. That brings up a good point. Marcia said, I really enjoyed the live calls. Will you be taking live calls on the member-only channel? So yes, that's another feature, I guess, that's part of the members thing. We debuted it a couple weeks ago now, and we're taking live calls for part of the show on YouTube during the live stream. And I'll tell you something funny in a minute. Yeah, so if you want a chance to call in, because maybe some of you guys and girls aren't good at typing, and instead you'd love to call in. There's a whole line and everything. There's like a queue and all that. And yeah, what I was laughing about is Candy says, I've been yelling at you from my computer for 10 minutes. And I was just remembering how I'm basically holding her captive. Like, oh, were you hoping to eat dinner? Guess we're going to 9. Oh, you think, no, let's go to 11. Let's hold her captive. Yeah. So anyway, yes, I'm going to the dogs for sure. My wife has been harassing me to give the dogs a bath and do all that, and so we will. Well, if ever some special shampoo, it had aloe vera and like cucumber and oatmeal and all the good smells in it. If that came to, it should have came today. If that came today, then we're ready. I hate doing the dog's toenails though. Like I don't know. I don't like. I'm the guy that has to hold them, and I just don't like restraining them because they don't like it. But yeah. All right. I have to go bathe my dogs and eat some dinner and work on more cool stuff. So thanks for hanging out. I will try to do it again next Tuesday. And I'm going to try to fit in a member-only live stream. Don't know if that'll be like on Thursday or Friday. I might have a lot of work to do with Dean, so I might try to get it done Thursday because in my mind I'm like, ooh, I could do a surprise one with Dean on Friday, but we might have like a lot of work to actually fix whatever's wrong. And yeah, I might not have time to live stream. So we'll figure it out. If you want to see more than one live stream every week, become a member. Otherwise, enjoy. We only do it for like 45 minutes to an hour, so it's not even as long as this one. So you're only missing out on whatever that is. And it's a lot more business question. Well, it's about half and half. Business questions and your guys' questions. We usually post up something, let you guys ask your questions. Zenzo picks them. I'll answer a bunch. Then we do call-ins and all that kind of stuff. So as ADH Aquatic says, bye everyone. Become a member. Couldn't have said it better myself. Goodbye everyone. Become a member. And don't forget, wash your dogs. Where'd my screen go? I can't get out here in time. All right. Bye-bye. Thanks so much. I really appreciate it. Buy all of our stuff. Enjoy all the stuff we try and do for you. And we'll see you next week.